here at the main campus of Georgia State University at the Robinson College of Business. We're going to talk with Dr. Stephen Olson, who is the leadership professor. Let's see if we can find some truth about leadership and what it means today in this ever-evolving global business world. All right, we are here with Dr. Stephen Olson. He is the leadership professor at the Georgia State Global Partners MBA program. So with the leadership course, it is one of the most valuable and fascinating courses, I think, in the Global Partners program. It's not just a semester-long course. We actually learn throughout the entire program. This leadership class, there's a lot to be taken from it. So I wanted to sit down with Dr. Olson and ask him a few questions about global leadership. So the first question is, leadership studies are extremely important for students in business school. So can you tell me how this course is adjusted to meet the needs of students in a global MBA course?
Yeah, when we were thinking about this course, we tried to select a theory of leadership that would be applicable across cultures. And we know from the research, been really good research done on the variability of leadership across cultures and how things get expressed. So we were trying to resolve the tools and concepts that we teach down to the fundamentals that we know don't change across cultures. So we know every culture faces really significant challenges. We know that groups of people have to be mobilized to face those. That mobilization to face these challenges inside a corporation or between the corporation and one of its stakeholders requires being very good at diagnosing what's going on, being able to devise solutions and experiments to test your diagnosis, being able to intervene basically. So we rather than seeing leadership as something set apart from the rest of the coursework you're learning, we try to draw on all the other disciplines that you learn in business school as means for diagnosing the significant challenges that you're going to face by selecting then challenges that come from businesses doing work across a variety of cultures. Right. We therefore bring that very cross-cultural global aspect right into the classroom. So we've been very forthright in trying to build this in as something that's going to be applicable to such a diverse student base.
Right, exactly. And I know that that's going to be really important for us as students when we're dealing with economies that maybe don't have quite the same infrastructure or institutions that we have in America. So.
Yeah, hugely different. The issues that are being faced, that global companies face, especially in the emerging and developing economies, are very different from the ones that you face in the developed economies because those institutions and the institutional supports simply aren't there.
Right.
And in some ways we're putting back in a global setting things that were taken out of the MBA as society got better at taking up a lot of the issues that the emerging and developing economies are grappling with. Right. So some of that's come back in from a global perspective into your MBA.
Well, that's great. And another thing about this leadership course is that we have certain services that we're provided with, such as the Myers-Briggs test and the values technology test. So can you tell us a little bit about what they are and why they are important to students like us in global business school?
Right on. Well, a lot of leadership sees a key component is what you bring to it. So we want every student to know what their native strengths are, where some of their areas for improvement are. A lot of those are going to be based on your personality. There's a lot of wonderful research out there on that. So we start with that as a fundament. A lot of leadership programs stop pretty much right there. Right. And so we also administer the values management inventory, which was a cross-culturally developed model of human value and human valuing. And what's important about it is that what they discovered in doing that research is that the values the priorities that we reach for and try to give expression to in our work develop across the lifespan, and it's actually the set of our high ideals and aspirations, things that a lot of times we don't talk about in business school.
Right.
My passion for global justice. Well, it turns out that what motivates a lot of business people is that they see themselves as contributing to the foundations of global justice, of creating more goods and services for more people, right, and to create more human freedom. So that instrument is meant to help students see what their values are, attach them really firmly to these long-term ideals and aspirations that they hold, and then do that as a collective so we can realize what we're really up to. It's the pursuit of those high ideals that forces us to get outside our comfort zones and grow. If we're not attached to our ideals and our aspirations, then we have a hard time stretching ourselves. Or when we're being stretched, we have more of a tendency to want to blame somebody else, rather than to say, I took this on because this is in me to do.
Right.
So we really, and because this instrument was validated cross-culturally, we thought it was also a very useful instrument to use with this really diverse group of students with this really diverse experience that they get in the program.
It is definitely very interesting to take a strong look at yourself and really identify some areas of improvement.
Right on.
So I guess, how can the leader in business world today adapt to the increasing globalization of business? I know we as students are traveling abroad. We're going to also take a 4-month internship, so that's kind of a unique experience, and we definitely want to be able to utilize the leadership skills that we've learned in class to apply them abroad.
Yeah, the program was designed to do something really. When we saw what the research showed, we realized we had a high bar to set. The research shows that in order to be successful, merely successful, just not to fail at a global business, you have to be among the best of the best domestically.
Right.
So the criteria we use for what we call talent management, the people who you think of as talent that you want to keep in your corporation, you don't want to lose. Those people are the people who are, that's what it takes to be just successful, not to fail at the global level.
Wow.
So we recognize that we're training students for a really high bar, right?
Absolutely.
And so the lesson there is, well, what makes for people who are successful? What makes for talent? When you strip it all the way down to its base, it's the ability to learn from experience, learning agility, the ability to deal with ambiguity and paradox, to really listen. A whole set of skills that hard to get into a curriculum unless you're thoughtful about how you do it. So the most important thing I think we try to teach is not only skills and concepts, but skills and concepts that will teach you all how to learn from your global experience. Because if you've learned how to fish, you can feed yourself for your lifetime.
Right.
You know the old adage. But learning how to fish globally is tough, right? A lot of people fail at it. So
exactly.
that's the intent of the program.
Well, all right, and finally, what words of advice do you have for the Global Partners MBA students before we embark on all of our travels to Brazil and Paris and China?
Yeah. First of all, have fun. If you can't have fun doing something, don't do it, right?
Exactly.
And I think the second one is to treat those global assignments exactly the way we know that the people who are successful in their global assignments in the corporation treat them. So academia, higher ed is higher ed.
Yes.
But the way that gets expressed is so different. You know, it's going to be so different in Brazil than in France than in China. So you've really got to recognize what's different about how this gets expressed, not let that rattle you, and then figure out how to work with people, right? Because American professors are very different from Brazilian professors, very different from French professors, etc. So I think if you get out and really allow yourself to take in that experience, keeping a really good, strong personal base where you can process these, difficult emotions that come up,
Right.
maybe over a glass of wine or whatever,
Right.
That's all good. But treating it the way you would treat any global experience and recognize that the way things get expressed can be very different, and it can be hard to see that they're trying to get across similar things but in very different ways.
Gotcha.
And being flexible and adaptable to that.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Dr. Olson.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate it.
My pleasure.